The 704th edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MMA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. And we're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 states. Download the Rebet app and use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match of up to $100. And finally, we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing the college football and NFL seasons with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Heidi ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to episode 704 of the MMA Gambling Podcast and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, dedicated to Zhao Kang Fang. Hopefully she recovers fully from that absolutely brutal head kick knockout. So this is dedicated to you, despite us picking you and then you losing. But that's okay. Your health is more important. Thank you for coming to the show. I'm one of your hosts, Big Body Taco Fox. As you can see by the heading of this episode, this is all about the PFL. We actually have 3 straight PFL episodes coming at you. So they have their big year-end event coming up, Thanksgiving weekend for you Americans. So we're coming up this Friday, but they're going to be in Saudi Arabia, who do not celebrate Thanksgiving, as far as I know. So we're going to break all that down, starting with the prelims today. I guess we can talk quickly about UFC Macau. It was mediocre results for Gumby and myself. Back to the throwback to the olden days when we used to get mediocre results. Gumby did better than I did, but yeah, 7-6 for me, 8-5 for Gumby. But our locks came through. That's a positive. Let's bring in the man himself, Daniel Gumby, really, and we shall talk about it. I didn't even check your round robin. How'd your round robin do?
Didn't it? It wasn't a great week. I mean, for UFC results, and actually, we had a little bit of a tough time on the regional scene this week too. You know, I was down 4 units, bringing me down to like 34.5 on the year. So still up 34.5. We have these kinds of weekends in MMA. And yeah, from the UFC in Macau event, I mean, I'm not sure there's much to say. Like, Piotr Jan showed that there's levels to these things at bantamweight. Muslim Salikov reminded people he creates a lot of power and not a lot of space. And Tabitha Ritchie hit us with maybe the weirdest game plan I've ever seen in my whole life. Turns out just dating a boxer does not make you one. And as a result, we wound up with kind of a mediocre kind of day. But with that being said, some kind of fun prospects came out of it all. Even though people didn't like the performance, Jiu-Jitsu wound up actually looking pretty darn good in his fight. He looked like he could really, be trouble for some people, or at least in my opinion, I think he could be trouble for some people. And outside of that, not much to say.
Your dogs are trouble. That's who's trouble. Tabitha Ricci. Let's fight a distance when we don't have a reach advantage and we're getting pieced up at distance. Let's do that. Let's not try to. I know she was getting beat up when she was trying to close the gap too, but she was getting beat up at distance. So you may as well try. And she didn't really try it. She was happy getting picked off at distance.
Yeah, and like she did get that one takedown, and I just would have liked to seen her try to keep getting that, because like there are a couple of like half-hearted attempts, but not enough.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, she and then she got too anxious when she was on the ground. So anyhow, disappointing there, but she was a big dog. Maybe there was a reason for that. PFL, it's all about the OVs. So actually, Tuesday's event is going to be all about the OVs. There's like 5 fighters whose names end in OV, fighting on the main card, or AV. It's every fight pretty much. So the Russians are taking over PFL championships. But today is all about the prelims. Thoughts on the prelims before we jump into it?
A lot of promise here. I've been talking about a couple of these fighters for a while. I mean, we've broken down a couple of these fighters before. Despite PFL not really booking any of their actual big talent from Bellator, they do seem to be doing a better job of like filling up these prelims with like meaningful fighters now.
Yep.
Because like, this is not your usual crap fest when it comes to a PFL or a Bellator prelim card, like we've seen before, where sometimes they have like 1-on-1 guys fighting each other. And instead, like these are like all real prospects, or like people you'd really want them to build their organization with. So like that's a huge positive for me.
Your big name fighters cost money, Gumby. So if you give them fights, you have to pay them. That's the problem, right?
Yeah, I think they're broke. I'm going to be just straight up honest with you. I think they purchased Bellator and realized, oh my, we don't have enough money for this. I think you're going to see them like weirdly cut ties with like 100 fighters all at once.
Yeah, probably should. It'd probably be best for everyone involved, actually, if they did that. But see, we can't even talk about PFL Tour without being negative. Even though their biggest event of the year is coming up, it's actually they're doing what we always want promotions to do. When the UFC is off, you run an event and run a big event. So that is what they're doing. Thanksgiving be damned. All right, before we jump into it, though, I have to remind you, if you haven't already, maybe you're using it right now. Make sure you download the SGPN app. If you haven't, you are missing out. The SGPN app gives you access to all the podcasts on the network and the picks pages in one convenient app. Plus, like all our content, the app is completely free. Type in SGPN in your app store to download it today. You can even get Gumby's first basket NBA bets on there too, which he continues to hit, or you hit often enough to be very profitable, right?
We're up 42 units, baby.
Whoa, it's even better than MMA. See, the man knows every sport. All right, let's talk about the PFL 2024 Championships. Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Sport washing continues. PFL, UFC, they got it all. So this is November the 29th, which would be Friday. Thanksgiving is Thursday, right? For you folks?
That's correct. Every single year it's on a Thursday.
Every single year it's a Thursday. So this would be Black Friday. They're doing it. I don't think Saudi Arabia does Black Friday either. 9:30 a.m. Eastern. So people can just stay up, right? Thanksgiving is a big drinking holiday as well, right? So everyone will just still be drunk and they can just stay up and watch.
I don't think staying up is a common
theme. I think that drunk people do.
I don't know if you know anything about how the effects of alcohol, but I think it does the opposite. If I'm not mistaken.
It depends. How were people staying up all night for?
There were a ton of people who rose and shined with some coffee in the Discord with us. Okay, so cool. There was lots of people bumping in there.
Awesome. So this is 9:30 a.m. Not quite as rough as this past weekend's 3 a.m. UFC start. It's going down in the Mayadeen, whatever that is, in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. In the cage, 16 fights. We're breaking down all of them. So no complaints about us skipping fights. We're doing it all. Today we're starting with the prelims, and we are starting with a middleweight fight. Costello van Steenis. He is from Netherlands, correct? Yes.
From the Netherlands, but he trains out of Spain. So sometimes you'll see, as you can see on the beautiful graphic on our screen, sometimes he's got the Spanish flag next to him too.
Oh, we do have graphics. Wow, I'm checking it out now. Everyone loves our graphics so much.
Weirdly, we got, they love the graphics, so I brought him back for this episode. Weirdly, we've got him for this one, the PFL MENA finals, but not the PFL proper finals for some reason doesn't have graphics. So we'll go back to the old school way for that one.
All right. Yeah. So thank you everyone for liking the graphic, because that makes Gumby do more work. So that's what we want, right? I guess it's automated, right? So it's not a heck of a lot of work.
It's pretty much the same amount of work.
At least.
It's pretty much the same amount of work as it was before.
Cool. Mr. Van Steenis is fighting João Vitor Dantas from Brazil. No surprise there. 3 5-minute rounds, 185. You know the odds, right? I don't have to keep these in secret.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. I would have blurted them out anyhow, I'm ssure. Dantas is 7-1 with 7 knockouts. He's been knocked out once. He hosts his rounds, damn it, exclamation point. This is his debut in PFL. He's won 3 straight. He's not lost since July 2021. 4 years younger than Van Steenis, an inch taller, plus 350. Van Steenis, the Spaniard. There you go. As Gumby said, he fights in Spain, out of Spain. 15-3, 3 knockouts, 8 submissions. He has never been finished in a fight. This is his debut as well in the PFL. He's won 3 out of 4, including winning his last one via submission. 7-2 in Bellator, a regional champion, 2014 pro MMA debut, minus 455.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Van Steenis here. Big favorite here, but I think rightfully so. When you watch Dantas fight, what struck me about the most recent of his fights that I was able to catch was he got dropped really early by a guy who I didn't even particularly think was very good. The guy's 15-9 kind of journeyman status. I think he has fought like 6 times since then too. So he's one of those guys who just racks up as many fights as he can. And like he got dropped early by that guy. He got his back taken. He wound up in a bunch of bad positions, but at the end of the day, he's just got like big knockout power. And I think that's why you see Dantas sort of at the odds you see him at, is because it's kind of like if he doesn't knock him out, it won't go well for him. And on Van Steenis' side, like there's actually a lot I like from Van Steenis. The best piece of it is like his positional jiu-jitsu. When he's doing jiu-jitsu and he gets a good spot, like he holds that spot really well. He progresses through the jiu-jitsu positions particularly good. On the feet, maybe nothing to like super write home about, but he is like technically proficient in a way that makes him like defensively sound. So like I trust that he'll stay away from the big bombs through all that. I mean, look, he spent 15 minutes in a cage with Douglas Lima and didn't get knocked out, right? And Douglas Lima, even at his advanced age and up a weight class, is like, still got really good power. Mm-hmm. And actually, Van Steenis took the first round off of Douglas Lima on every single judge's scorecard. So, he's a guy who's got good grappling. He's good positionally. And I think up against the guy who gives up positions like this, Van Steenis should cruise. So I'm going to go with the big favorite out the gate.
All right. A favorite out the gate, as Gummy said. Let's move on to the next fight. There's going to be lots of good pronunciations in this episode, or all the episodes coming up. Asaël, I can't remember. I've seen his name on paper lots of times. I don't think I've ever said it. Adjoudj.
Adjoudj.
Adjoudj. He's from France. Asaël. Is that how you say his first name?
Asaël Adjoudj.
Asaël Adjoudj. He's fighting José Perez or Jose Perez. Is he Jose or Jose? He's an American.
He's from Chicago, so I'm pretty sure it's Jose.
Jose Perez. It's Jose Perez. We'll tell you about him first. 7-1, four submissions. He's been knocked out once. 1-0 in PFL. He's won 5 straight fights, including his last. He has not lost since August 2021. He's a regional champion. That's his only loss, actually. Regional champ, 2 inches of reach over Adjoudj, plus 150. The Sultan is double A. Adjoudj, 8-1, 3 knockouts, 1 submission. Never been finished in a fight. This is his PFL debut. He's won 8 straight fights, including his last one via TKO. He's not lost since his pro debut, which was back in February 2020. 6-1 in Bellator. Used to fight at lightweight, 4 years younger than Perez, 2 inches taller, minus 180.
I'm going to go with the underdog here. I like Jose Perez. I think when you look at the way this fight is broken down, and I kind of see why Adjoudj would be a favorite, because if you just look at the way that they strike, Adjoudj does a little bit better of fighting long and establishing range and sort of like keeping people at the end of his punches. Whereas Perez is a dude who kind of gets a little bit too close and mixes it up and sort of gets nasty in like close boxing range. And I don't think Adjoudj will like want him to be in that range. So he'll just be like circling and kind of frustrating him. But like on the other side of things, and this is again why I think Adjoudj will wound up the favorite here, is that Adjoudj is a guy who has wrestled a little bit in the past when his striking can't get going, when he can't trust his striking. And I think people think that these guys are on even footing when it comes to wrestling, but I completely disagree. Because if you watch most of Adjoudj's takedowns, it's a lot of upper body stuff. It's a lot of trips. It's a lot of muscling. It's a lot of like sometimes getting wizard in like upper body stuff and then like scrambling and winding up in the better position against like a crappy opponent. But when you watch Jose Perez wrestle, he looks really good in his wrestling because both he has body lock stuff with inside outside trips and stuff like that, but he also like catches kicks and turns them into single legs. He's got a blast double. If you look at the guys he's fought in the up and coming, as he made it to PFL, like the guys he fought were good wrestlers, right? He beat Frank Wells in CFFC for the title. He defended it against Chris Vassell, who again, both of those guys can wrestle a little bit. Like he's been in there with like high level wrestlers on the region, at least for regional scene. So I think his wrestling is for real. So despite having the slightly worse striking here, I think he's going to dominate the position most of the time. And also just like in general, once you've made that guy fear the takedowns and like, worry about the bad positions, you wind up with a lot more openings in the striking as well. So I think we're going to see that here from Perez. And I like him as a slight underdog.
All right. We shall take all the underdogs we can get. I'm not transitioning to underdog ad read. Sorry. That would have fit perfectly. Instead, we can tell you about put it up. It's got me going to put it up. Let's see MyBookie, right? MyBookie.ag. There it is on your screen.
I was waiting for which one you were going to do.
I know. I forgot which one I was doing. I was counting on you, but we're doing MyBookie.ag. I can't forget that. We were brought to you by MyBookie.ag. SGPN started out with MyBookie, and now we are back, baby. Check out the new and improved website. Great on mobile. Plus, props for every game and the live dealer casino. They even have new early cash out options. Check out all the MMA odds over at MyBookie.ag. And use our promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. And we are brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a brand new social sportsbook available in 45 states. A huge market of betting opportunities are available on Rebet. Easy to use and great for people in states where traditional sportsbooks may be restricted. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for 100% deposit match up to $100. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN, otherwise known as SIGPEN. Now back on to the PFL prelims. We're sticking with featherweights. Jesus Pinedo, he is from Peru, I believe, right? He's Peruvian, yes. Peruvian.
That'd be Jesus.
Jesus, that's right. Jesus Pinedo. Well, we got two Jesus. No, we got a Jose and a Jesus. Jesus Pinedo. Jeremy Kennedy from good old Canada. 3 5-minute rounds, featherweight. JBC, or the Bandit, you can call Mr. Kennedy. 19-4 with 1 no contest. 7 knockouts, 2 submissions. He's been knocked out 3 times. 2-1 with 1 no contest in the PFL. 3-1 over his last 4. Got TKO'd in his last fight. That was for the championship in Bellator, I believe, right?
Yeah, he fought Pitbull.
Yeah, he fought a Pitbull. 4-2 in Bellator, 3-1 in the UFC. Regional champion. Used to fight at bantamweight and lightweight. 2013 pro MMA debut, plus 220. Mudo is Pinedo, which means the mute. You got to have him on your podcast and see. Put that to the test. Does the man speak? 14-6-1. 14 knockouts, 4 submissions. Wait a minute, that can't be right. He can't be 14-6-1 and have 14 knockouts, right? And 4 submissions. Something doesn't add up there.
The graphic says 10 knockouts, 4 submissions.
2. Does it say that?
Yeah,
no. Okay. So. Jesus Pinedo's 23-6-1 is what his real record is. I had the wrong record, according to Tapology. 23-6-1, 14 knockouts, 4 submissions. I shortchanged the man. 9 wins. He's been knocked out twice. 3-1 in PFL. 2023 champion. He's won 3 straight and 7 of 8. All of those fights have ended in knockout or TKO. He's not fought, though, since November 2023. He was supposed to fight a Pitbull. Speaking of Pitbulls, then had a back injury earlier this year and had to pull out. So he hasn't fought in a year. But he's a millionaire now, so who cares, right? He's fight at lightweight, 1-1 in the UFC, multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky with it. 2013 pro MMA debut, 4 years younger than Kennedy, 3 inches height, 3 inches reach, minus 270.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Pinedo here. I really wanted to try to convince myself to take Jeremy Kennedy just because of how much I like Jeremy Kennedy. And it seems like maybe the value is still on him, but I'm going to go with Pinedo in terms of looking for a winner. As much as I like Kennedy, as much as I want this guy to win, as much as I think it would be like a fun sort of wrench in the PFL's plans for the next year, and they would have to put Jeremy Kennedy in there, I just don't think his wrestling, it can be consistent enough against the guy with pressure and footwork like Pinedo. Like in the grand scheme of things, like his wrestling started off looking good against Pitbull, and then Pitbull just kind of like turned up the pressure and kept striking and kept doing things like that. And like when he was able to keep that pressure up and he was able to keep working like that, Kennedy sort of wore down and his wrestling stopped working so much and he stopped being able to get that going. And like, I don't know. I even think maybe Pinedo does better at that. And at this stage in his career, I think Pinedo might be even more dangerous than one of the Pitbull brothers, and Pitbull got him out of there. So I think even though you might see some early wrestling being successful for Kennedy, I don't think it will be enough in the long run. I think ultimately Pinedo's pressure and his striking just plays up. And I think he takes this one. So give me Jesus Pinedo here, even if that number is a little on the bigger side.
He's definitely more dangerous than the Pitbulls because there are some of the people who can't get fights right now because they have it's all the people with big contracts, as we said off the top. So it's no real.
Yeah, it's the people PFL can't afford right now.
Exactly. About all that dirty Saudi Arabian money, they should be able to pay everyone, right? I guess everyone has to get $1 million so that wins on this.
They're giving away $6,400,000 at least.
There you go. At least. Oh, yeah, that's right. PFL MENA. That's all about tomorrow's episode. So
those are $100K for the finals.
These people are just fighting for. These people we're talking about today, fighting for pennies. All right, we are going to way up to a heavyweight fight. Slim Trabelsi, we have spoken about him before. He is from Tunisia. He is up against Abraham Babli from England. 3 5-minute rounds, 265 if they want to weigh in that much, that is. Babley is the one and only. He's won 5 straight. Sorry, only. Let's start again. He's 5-0. That sounds a lot better. With 3 knockouts. 1-0 in PFL, 1-0 in Bellator. Won his last FV TKO. 2 years younger than Trabelsi, 18 pounds heavier than him based on their last weigh-ins for their last fight, plus 160. Trabelsi is 7-0 with 4 knockouts. This is his debut in PFL. He's gone 2-0 in Bellator, regional champion, 3 inches taller than Babley, minus 192.
I'm going to go with Trabelsi here. So the thing about why I think this line is so close is that Babley, he definitely looks more explosive than Trabelsi, especially when he's wrestling. Like he is, one of those like really explosive, like, I don't want to shame British wrestlers right now, but he looks like an American style wrestler in the way that he explodes through double legs and stuff like that. And in addition to that, on his feet, he's definitely faster and it definitely looks more comfortable than Trabelsi. But the bottom line here is that, like, while all of that explosion is good and it seems to, he doesn't even seem to fade really all that much. The problem with it is positionally, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, I think he's a far inferior fighter. I think when you watch Trabelsi finish like a single leg takedown and where, if you just like focus on the lower half of his body and where he positions himself following a takedown, his opponent looks like he's got no idea how to get up. If you watch, both of these guys fought Louis Sutherland, heavyweight from Scotland. And if you watch Trabelsi hold down Louis Sutherland, it's like a takedown. And then he's just like in position doing damage for most of the time. If you watch Babley do it, it's like an explosion. Sutherland's halfway up, another explosion. He's halfway up. And like that worked against Louis Sutherland, again, because he's probably not the level of these two guys, seeing as they both have wins over him. But like, I don't think it would work against Trabelsi. I think Trabelsi is going to counter that grappling. He's going to wind up on top. If he's holding Babley down, Babley might try to explode out of those positions. But I just don't see it working. And I think, especially as the fight goes on, there's going to be so many opportunities where Babley puts himself in a bad position due to explosions, due to like stuff that worked before just not working against somebody like Slim Trabelsi, who is like much better at jiu-jitsu than him. So like, if he does get taken down and he just tries to explode up, I see him giving up his back. Or if he does try to explode, like I see him, giving up a really easy side control and eating damage because of it. Or, there's so many things he could do jiu-jitsu wise here. Or, like even if he's having success, I saw him in that last Louis Sutherland fight where he took the back and he just fell off the top. And granted, Sutherland didn't take advantage of it, but I think Trabelsi's the type of guy who does. So for me, as much as I like Babley, and I think Babley could potentially be, like kind of a spoiler against some of these heavyweights who can't necessarily wrestle all that much, I don't think Trabelsi's the type that's going to fit that bill. So give me Slim Trabelsi here. Love the number on this one.
Oh, I like that. Give him the Slim man. All right, before we move on to the main event of our episode, Underdog Fantasy, as people on YouTube will see on their screen, we're going to tell you about Underdog. Underdog Pick'em is one of the biggest menus for all sports. They got NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, and more. And you can now use special and boost and all flex entries. Maybe Gumby's got to play for us, perhaps.
Sure, I can give you one. I think in Sunday Night Football, we got the Rams playing the Eagles tonight. I'm going to say the higher than on Cooper Kupp's receiving yards. They're probably going to be trailing for most of this game. Probably going to have to be trying to do some damage down the field. And who better than Cooper Kupp?
I don't know. Who better? Cooper Flagg, maybe?
I don't think Cooper Flagg would. I don't think he would catch more passes.
No, probably not. Let's sign up with the code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build you a model. You can now track props in the Rhythm app. They got NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm has it all. Get in there, check out their Al Horford three-pointer prop projections, and claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, the main event of our episode. Not the main event of the prelims, because there's more prelims to come on tomorrow's, but the last fight we're going to cover today is Mansour Barnaoui from France. Barnaoui versus Alfie Davis from England. Both their names perfect for the countries they're from. 155. Tell you about the Axeman Davis first. He's 17-4-1 with 5 knockouts, 3 submissions. He has never been finished in a fight. Very impressive. This is his debut in the PFL. He's won 3 straight fights. He's not lost since May of 2021. He went 7-1-1 in Bellator. He also has multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. Instead of getting sticky, the new spam thing is hit me up, right? Or
hit my DMs.
Hit my DMs, yeah.
It's not as funny as get sticky.
No, it's not as funny.
Everybody should be getting sticky still.
It's true. Davis, his 2014 was his pro MMA debut, plus 164. Barnaoui is the Afro Samurai or Tarzan. You take your choice. Or Tarzan the Afro Samurai is what his name should be. He's 21-6, 6 knockouts, 14 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. This is his debut in the PFL. He's gone 1-2 over his last 3, 9-2 over his last 11. That sounds better. Did win his last fight via submission. 2-2 in Bellator. Multiple regional championships on his
mantle.
Correct. Get the shirt. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store. Get sticky. Don't hit me up. 2011 pro MMA debut. 1 inch of height. 7 inches reach over Davis. Minus 198.
I'm going to go with Barnaoui. I'm actually surprised he's not a much larger favorite. I know some of his recent results haven't been great, right? You said 1-2 in his last 3.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, I think the way he controls range is just too much. It's head and shoulders better than Davies. So if you watch Davis, like he's got a nice counter when people get in his face, but when he's trying to like establish his own range and trying to set himself up, it looks like he takes way too long of a time to figure that out. And Barnaoui is kind of rangy in the style that he fights. Like he does a pretty good job of closing range and getting back out of range. So I think his success is going to be just like much, much higher out the gate, which should frustrate Davis. And then if he starts like rushing and trying to get into the range and like, sort of starting to make up some of that ground, the problem is that Barnaoui is just so much better on the ground. I think his jiu-jitsu is head and shoulders better than Davis. So like if Davis starts getting frustrated, he starts rushing in, we wind up in grappling exchanges. Like I see him getting the better of those situations. And like Davis is another guy who sort of like jumps guillotine sometimes because he thinks he's better at jiu-jitsu than people. And if he does that here, he's just going to wind up in bad position after bad position. And also, like I said, like I don't even think there's upside on the feet for him. Like he needs to counter, and he's up against the guy who's like kind of tricky to counter. So I'm gonna go with Barnaoui here. I think he's gonna style on him here, and I think this is a great line too.
All right, he's gonna style. All right, not a heck of a lot of dogs, but some lines that Gumby is interested in. So that is good. Let's give you a recap, then we'll get out of your orifices until tomorrow. Barnaoui, Trabelsi, Pinedo, Perez, then Steenis, correct?
That's right.
All right. Who's going to look the best on this whole card? Barnaoui, you said, is going to style on him. Is he going to be the most?
I think Van Steenis will probably come out looking best, but that's probably just because the difference in skill level here. If you're asking me like who maybe is the best fighter on this, it would probably be between Pinedo and Trabelsi, probably. Like I could see Trabelsi giving people trouble in the PFL regular season at heavyweight next year.
Cool. All right. You're all set. Until tomorrow, episode 704 in the books. We'll be in the Discord, of course, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord. Hit us up in there on the YouTube MMA Gambling Podcast. Hit us up in the comments. Make sure you subscribe first. Thank you very much in advance. YouTube, not YouTube, X/Twitter is SGPN MMA. He's going to be reeling. I'm Jeff Fox Writer there and on Instagram. Get in my Substack. I run weekly UFC pick'ems. I run a lot of interesting articles, I believe. Check it out. See if you're interested in it. moneymma.substack.com. Listen to Gumby's other podcast, the Top Turtle MMA podcast. Do you have anyone on it this week that you can announce at this point?
Yeah, I got 2 people we just talked about. I'm talking to Jose Perez, who's on this prelims card, as well as the Canadian Jeremy Kennedy.
No mutes, though. Too bad.
No mutes.
Mudo. That's okay. Of course, you can find us at sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store to get your gear, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon to get extra content. We shall be back tomorrow. The one and only Big Body Taco Fox and El Mudo Gumby Vreeland. We shall talk to you then. Bye.